Welcome to What's Black in Streaming, where I'm putting a spotlight on TV shows with strong Black leads. The writer's strike put a pause on a lot of scripted programming that was ultimately scheduled to come out this fall, so it has been a desert out here. But we're finally starting to see some life come back in the scripted side. Two of my latest favorites are Amazon Prime's Gen V and NBC's Found. Found technically streams next day on Peacock, so that's why I'm including it. And that's my business. Gen V actually dropped about a week and a half ago, so I'll start with that one. What did I like about Gen V? I liked a lot. I was a fan of The Boys for a while, so I was actually excited to see if the things that I liked about The Boys would actually transfer into things that I would like in this new spinoff. Gen V did a lot of what I wanted to see, and they did some stuff that I didn't even realize I needed to see. So the first thing I loved about The Boys was how realistic it is to the world that we live in. I truly believe that if people had superpowers, those people would be either incredibly shallow and do hero activities only for clout, or they would be absolute assholes who use their power to assert dominance. It would be a horrible place to live. With Gen V, we still get to kind of see this, but through the eyes of younger and more impressionable heroes at a university setting. The second thing I really liked was that Gen V is also a nice change of pace from The Boys because we have more diversity in the characters in terms of their race, gender, sexuality. In The Boys, the Justice League-esque group called the Seven was mostly a boys club, and the members were very white and often very, very, very racist. Gen V has multiple characters of color with like major powers in the show, and their identities play a major role in the way that people navigate their interactions with those characters. I'm curious to see whether this continues to be something that is explored through the different storylines as the season progresses. Lastly, the characters really get to wrestle with how they define being a hero. They're being bombarded with all kinds of definitions from the faculty, their social media followers, and their parents, but ultimately they have to decide for themselves what kind of hero they want to be and what that means. I think that's something that would be a lot more difficult in terms of a story arc for The Boys. I do remember an attempt to do this with Starlight, but it ultimately kind of fell flat for me because they all kind of knew what they signed up for when they were going to be a part of the Seven. In Gen V, they are at the precipice of making some of those like major life decisions. So that was what I really enjoyed. What was my favorite moment of the series so far? That has got to be the chaotic opening scene. It almost matches how chaotic the opening scene was in The Boys. Almost. Not quite, but almost. What was my favorite still shot from the first few episodes? That one's easy. It's gotta be the final shot from episode 3. I'm not gonna give any context except for this image. If you haven't watched the episode, you need to go watch it. Let me know what you thought about the actual scene and that image specifically. I have mentioned a bit so far some of the themes that have kind of been a part of the show, but there are some other ones I want to talk about. One, diversity in academia. We have all experienced it, whether you were on the school brochure or you knew people who unknowingly became the face of your predominantly white institution. It's something we've seen happen time and time and time again. Diversity is a commodity that is good for business until it isn't. When it's no longer bringing in the donations, a lot of these organizations decide it's time to move on to something else. Our main character quickly sees how she's basically been given the royal treatment at Godolphin University when they're in need of like a PR kind of uplift. So as an audience member, we kind of get to see whether or not the university will continue to be in her corner if she decides to stop playing ball with the image that they've created for her. And this idea of commodification directly relates to the second thing I wanted to talk about that I noticed in the series. It's the obsession that the characters have with self-branding and influencing. We have gotten to the point in society where we should be worried a bit less about institutions exploiting us because we are doing it to ourselves for free in the name of like becoming celebrities or influencers. The show highlights this really well in the way that the characters are hyper-focused on their social media following and how that determines their success after graduation. Whether they go the hero track or the acting route, these characters equate success with how well they market themselves as commodities for these brands to ultimately buy into. Overall, I really enjoyed the first few episodes of Gen V. It's wacky, it's fun, incredibly inappropriate, and often gory. If this sounds like it's your cup of tea, it probably is. New episodes come out every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central on Amazon, so go stream that if it's your fancy. The second show I want to talk about on our Black streaming schedule is Found. Have any of you actually heard of Found? I need the marketing team to step up. Not enough people are talking about this TV gem. I have been really excited about this show ever since I heard it would be in NBC's premiere lineup for the fall, like ever ago. I have been following the show since before the writer's strike. Like I knew that this show was gonna get pushed back. Y'all know me. I love TV. I follow TV. Don't act surprised now. What do I love about this show? I love everything. I love everything. The concept is honestly what sold me before there was even a trailer available for me to watch. The show follows a main character who is a private investigator. She's hired by families to find their missing children when the police don't seem to care. These kids are often Black or brown, and some of them are even in foster care. Sounds like the real world we live in, right? The show is amazing because of how socially and culturally important the actual concept behind the show is. And what makes this show even more interesting is that the main character, Gabby, is willing to do all kinds of extreme things in order to bring these kids home because she was once a kidnapped kid when she was a little girl. And the show is really good because they get you to emotionally invest in the storyline and how high the stakes are for whether or not they can bring these kids home. And they're doing that through the actual team members that are part of trying to rescue these kids. Each one of the team members has their own kind of tragic backstory as to why they want to be involved in getting these kids found. So the writers are kind of tugging on our heart every opportunity. One of the things I absolutely love though is that it emphasizes the value of every life. When blonde and blue-eyed kids go missing, it's sad, but when Black and brown kids go missing, it should be just as sad, if not more, because people aren't looking for them. They aren't getting the nationwide attention or the search parties, and that is the real injustice. So if you're a fan of Law and Order and all its million offshoots or Criminal Minds, this might be something that you enjoy watching. New episodes for it come out every Tuesday on NBC at 9 p.m. Central, and they stream the following day on Peacock. I absolutely am so grateful that you guys have continued to watch this video up until this point. If you enjoyed listening to me and kind of having a conversation with me, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more of this fantastic content. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear your recommendations for more shows to spotlight as well. And your thoughts on what some of the things were that I talked about today. Until next time, keep streaming and stay tuned for more of What's Black in Streaming. Bye, y'all.